Hi there, welcome to the Aaron Darcy Project, Forgotten Stories from Guyana and the Caribbean. Join me as we travel back in time to explore our heritage of rich cultures and talk about the things that make us Guyanese and West Indians. In this episode we will be looking at Guyana and the legend of El Dorado. Back in the mid-16th century, the legend of El Dorado had for many years enticed and drawn many bold and daring explorers into the dark and treacherous jungles of South America. In the dimly lit taverns and sailors' dens of London and other European cities, old and wizened travelers whispered stories of this legend. With hoarse voices they spoke of the many journeys in search of this wonderful place. This mythical city of El Dorado traces its origins to the indigenous peoples of the Amazon rainforest, ancient people who spoke of a city of magnificent buildings adorned with gold and precious gems. According to this legend, the ruler of El Dorado was known as the Gilded One or the Golden Emperor. Several times during the year, he would cover himself in gold dust before diving into the sacred waters of Lake Guatavita, offering treasures in a strange ceremony to the gods of the jungle. News of this legendary city spread like wildfire back in those days of adventure and discovery, igniting the imaginations of European explorers eager to claim its riches for themselves and their monarchs. The English, Dutch, French, Spanish and Portuguese kingdoms were at that time still battling for dominance in the new territories of the world. In the annals of exploration and adventure, few names shine as brightly as that of Sir Walter Raleigh, that dashing Englishman whose quest for glory led him into the heart of the South American wilderness in search of the legendary city of El Dorado. Raleigh, a famous explorer and a favorite in the court of Queen Elizabeth I, was also captivated by these tales of the Golden City and was determined to claim it for his queen and country. Sir Walter Raleigh set sail from England on a daring expedition in 1595, leading a band of bold and seasoned adventurers into the unknown lands of the New World, that was the Caribbean and the Americas. Through thunderous storms and over dangerous seas, these fearless adventurers finally sighted land. Then deep into the uncharted wilderness of what is now modern-day Venezuela, these men were led by Sir Walter Raleigh. In the weeks and months that followed, they encountered treacherous rivers, deep dark jungles filled with marvelous birds, snakes, alligators and the dreaded jaguar. They were bitten by insects, lost men to illness and wild animals and attacked by hostile tribes in their relentless pursuit of this El Dorado. Along the way, they also encountered breathtaking landscapes, more exotic wildlife, and ancient ruins shrouded in mystery and fearsome shadows. Finally, after months of exploration, exhaustion and adventure, Raleigh and his expedition stumbled upon the crown jewel of their journey. But it was not a city of gold that Raleigh found, but the fertile lands of what is now called Guyana. Sir Walter Raleigh had discovered a paradise of lush forests filled with exotic wildlife, fertile plains and open savannas. Here, amidst the natural splendor of the undiscovered Amazon, Raleigh saw great potential for wealth and conquest and opportunities to establish a lasting legacy for himself and for the British Empire. Sir Walter Raleigh, that intrepid English adventurer, had now etched his name in history with this bold discovery of the rich and verdant land that was to become the only English colony on the entire South American continent. While the first known European to encounter the land of Guyana was Sir Walter Raleigh, the Dutch were the first Europeans to actually create a settlement there. In 1616, the Dutch established the first European settlement in the area of what was to become Guyana. This Dutch settlement was a trading post about 16 miles upstream from the mouth of the Essequibo River. Other settlements followed, usually a few miles inland from the larger rivers. The colony of Demerara was added in the mid-18th century. The Dutch gained control of the territory early in the 17th century and officially procured sovereignty over the region by the signing of the Treaty of Munster in 1648. At first the Dutch settlers just wanted to trade with the local population of Arawaks and Caribs, but eventually they began to claim more and more land. This move was in some ways influenced by the acquisition of territory by other European powers elsewhere in the Caribbean and in Central and South America. Britain took over the colony in 1796 when a British expeditionary force was dispatched from its colony of Barbados to seize and take control of the Dutch colonies. The colonies surrendered without a struggle. However, while the British now took over these three colonies, control still shifted between them and the Dutch. The English had made at least two previous attempts in the 17th century to colonize the lands that would later be known as British Guiana, but by then the Dutch had already established their 2 colonies in the area. Essequibo was being administered by the Dutch West India Company, and Berbice, by the Berbice Association. The new British rulers made very little change, and allowed the long-established Dutch laws of the colonies to remain in force. At the London Convention of 1814, the Dutch officially surrendered the united colony of Demerara and Essequibo and the colony of Berbice to the British. The United Kingdom continued with separate governing for the individual colonies until 1822, when the administration for all 3 was combined. The colonies, having been officially ceded to the United Kingdom, were then consolidated into a single colony in 1831, and the united colony became known as British Guiana. The capital was renamed Georgetown by the British. It had until then been called Starbrook. Spain, at that time, had begun to control most of South and Central America, and at some point, during that turbulent period of exploration and the conquering of territories, part of the united colony of British Guiana was claimed by the Spanish Empire. When Britain gained formal control over the combined colony of British Guiana in 1814, it also undertook one of the most persistent border disputes of the time. According to the Spanish claim, the territory that was ceded by the Dutch to the British then had the Essequibo River as its western border with the colony of Venezuela, but the British had actually extended their occupation beyond this point. Although Spain still claimed the region west of the Essequibo River, they did not contest the treaty because they were preoccupied with many of their colonies' struggles for independence. But the dispute over the border continued to be raised, and in 1835, the British government decided to map British Guiana and mark its boundaries. The German explorer Robert Hermann Schomburgk was given this task, and he began by drawing up British Guiana's western boundary with Venezuela from the mouth of the Orinoco River. At that time, however, all the Venezuelan maps actually showed the Essequibo River as the eastern border of that country. This is probably the beginning of the current border controversy between Venezuela and what is now the Republic of Guyana. Venezuela gained its independence from the Spanish Empire on July 5, 1811, and Schomburgk's map of the British colony was published in 1840. Protests were immediately launched by Venezuela, which now renewed the former Spanish claim to the entire area west of the Essequibo River. Negotiations then began between Britain and Venezuela over the boundary issue, but brought no settlement between them. In 1850, both agreed not to occupy the disputed zone. Guyana gained its independence from Great Britain in 1966 and inherited the conflict, which continues into the 21st century. Once again, this dispute has raised the possibility of armed conflict in the region. Although the valiant efforts of Sir Walter Raleigh had in the beginning failed to establish a permanent English settlement in Guyana, his discovery of this bountiful, beautiful land had eventually led to it becoming part of that great empire. Today, the legacy of Sir Walter Raleigh lives on in the vibrant culture and diverse landscape of Guyana, a testament to the enduring spirit of exploration and discovery that continues to inspire adventurers around the world. The story of Sir Walter Raleigh remains a notable event in the history of Guyana, land of many waters, and perhaps the land of El Dorado. Thank you for joining us as we traveled through time to explore some of the history that has created this wonderful land of Guyana. If you continue to find our stories interesting, please do give us a like, subscribe, and share the content. We look forward to sharing much more on our next editions of the Aaron Darcy Project, Forgotten Stories from Guyana and the Caribbean. Goodbye for now.